Thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and we'll do the same without wasting a single second of your time. Dies Natalis Solus Invicti indeed, as it's Merry Christmas to you modern folk, or Dies Natalis Solus Invicti. What is that? Dies Natalis Solus Invicti. It is the birth of the invincible sun, the celebration dedicated to Mitra, identified by the Roman god Sol or the sun. This was when the December 25th, after the winter solstice, the days got slightly longer. So this is the actual origin day. So you can say to everyone, Dies Natalis Solus Invicti, my brother. And they'll be like, what are you talking about? You can tell them about the history of the Christmas tree and the star on top being the sun's birthday. And anyway, we are dropping beneath this 786. As predicted, we got rejected off of this 44K resistance level. And just for the record, we did take that short too. And we trimmed a little bit off the top and realized some profits here. And we have the runner just chilling with 12% gains. And yeah, so we were coming into this 44K resistance level and we dropped back down beneath it over to the left here. And Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. That's it for today. See you tomorrow. Just joking. So coming into high block capital to look at the liquidity. What is high block? Well, people lock that liquidity into the charts to get burnt to a crisp by the market maker for not using a stop loss. And we get to see where those crispy characters are. So let's do it now. So as it broke down here and took out those pools we were looking at an exact pool down here. This is where we trimmed just to be frugal. We had a limit order set. We just set it and forget it, and went to sleep and woke up with profits. So if we look at here, this 42,971 region, there was a band of liquidity down to that candle, recovering the vector. It was an idea we were looking at here. Let's go ahead and be clear about it. So this 42,961 region was where I locked in some profits, and now the runner is doing its thing. So this pool was recovered.
Fatality.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. So they had some liquidity down here, and now they're coming to this little pool here. We got that move. We'll see how it plays out. That was a very nice risk reward ratio, by the way, 6-to-1. So that was what a decent trade looks like. And we watched it reject off of that 0.5 706 trapdoor, I call it, always the 706 trapdoor play. And we were giving that out to the group as it was occurring here and fading up in there. And we also did the live stream and watched it fade out. So yeah, good job to anyone that took that short idea. So where do we go from here? What is in the cards? Do we come down and hold this 236 at 42,490? Looks like we wicked off that 236 bullish trend-based fib level. Now if we continue along that bullish trend-based fib path, that puts us up in this pocket range that has confluence on the deviation path up here as well. So this lines up nicely if we hold this pocket to go up to that 45K range. Now we need to go see if there's some pools that excite in that region. So there's some 100 Xers that they could be coming back down for a double bottom and a recovery of the wick on. Most notably, there is, looks like they got that guy. So there's a few 100 Xers down in here that they could wick off of. Ultimately, there's also some brethren of 50X that are opening up here in thicker regard. So I'm not keen to close this runner just yet. We will see how it goes. Always look for that confirmation, the higher probability setup of the W's and the M's, not the V-shaped. No hopium for that. So as we are dropping here, we're seeing a large short open to the tune of $373 million short. So if it does come back for that double bottom recovery on False Move Monday, December 25th, then we could be coming up to these regions. The liquidity does suggest after grabbing that we could be poised to go higher. Looking at the 7-day. 7-day came down to grab that thicker band. We still have a thicker band down at 42,150. Do we come down and finish the job at 42,150 before making our way up to 45? We will be comfortably waiting. We have our stopped in profit. It nearly stopped us out yesterday. We had it up here at 42,888 and it came up to 42,886. So we were $2 away from getting stopped out, and thankfully we did not. But we wanted to cover the fees, so we just put the target to cover the fees, and thankfully we were still good in the trade. All right, so anyway, looking at the 43K mark, we could come down to this 42,100 region on the 7-day. If we look at the monthly, though, this is where it starts to separate the wheat from the chaff, because we're starting to see that there is a possibility after this liquidity grab, even if we come down to that 42.1 region, to come right back up to these double digits and put in a higher high for one last hurrah to the upside. We were calling this in advance from way back. We've been calling each one of these impulses. We've been tuned in properly with the charts. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and throw on the momentum and see how the momentum treats us today, with the link in the description for more. Heads up display and affiliate banner on, going down to features, toggling at your leisure to see what it looks like in its glory. Read about each of the things, the trend cloud, the baseline, the stochastic array, and more. Dynamic alerts direct to your phone, so you don't need anyone. You would have gotten that 4 time frames overbought up here as it faded off the equilibrium 706, just like me, and boom, could have taken this to the downside. So what were we looking at yesterday? Let's hold ourselves to the flame, shall we? Why were we putting out that short idea as it was pumping on the stream? Why were we not FOMOing into a long like a lot of streamers do with their audience? We were actually holding true. We said that's our story and we're sticking to it to the downside. And we put our money where our mouth is on this fade right off that wick. And that was because the higher time frames and also the curvature of this cloud on the hourly was just, while we were recovering, we talked about this recovery off the cloud and it could start anywhere. We were like, overall I'm bearish, because if we went to the tonality of the 6 hour had that cross down event here. Also, we were looking at the 3-day possibly coming to fruition, that pressure on the 3-day. We still have 2 days for the 3-day candle to close, so we could do something in today and tomorrow to cause this to go up to here and come back down again. And even if it goes up, it could come down again. We were talking about this cross down signal on the baselines of the 3-day and how they are not to be ignored. The last time on July 24th, and then even though we came back up again, boom, we came to the downside. The cross-up event also with the rocket ships down here on September 11th took us to the upside, and this fake out, cross down, cross up, cross down eventually played out to a target if you were in a swing trade. So even if it goes higher to 45K, this could be the similar event to April, where it still ended up retracing back down. So the idea of looking at shorts in the premium region we're in rather than longs is the smart move to think. Do we take this little last burst up to 45K idea or not? That is what we are thinking about from now. Going to the daily. Daily time frame baseline cross down event still intact, and the tapering effect of the 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock angle of the trend cloud looking a bit fatigued. Getting the cross down of the Williams, giving the alarm signal here. The money flow coming above the RSI on the daily time frame here. You can see that here in gray, and the money flow and the RSI possibly fatiguing on the daily time frame. Ask your sister. Can you ask your sister to open one and close the door, please? Thank you. Merry Christmas. Happy Halloween. I don't think it's Halloween. Alright, so the 22-hour also starting to cross down here, and we are getting this fatigue of the cloud idea. Let's just go to the cloud here. You're seeing this curvature, and this is also why we were looking to take this off of the fade here. And it was a higher probability setup. I think we were in drawdown of like $12 on half a Bitcoin the whole time. So that was a decent entry, if I ever do say so myself. And then coming to this cloud here, do we start to hold this and bearishly retest and possibly break through? Getting the cross down on the 22 could see some acceleration here with that if we don't hold this pocket region. 12-hour also coming down. We had that previous bullish divergence that we were looking at down here with the hidden bullish of the disparity on the money flow and the RSI, which played up to the upside. Now we're getting it to the opposite effect, where the disparity is on the other side, where you have the money flow above the RSI as noted here. So we could be coming lower. The aggressive move in which we came down here suggests that we need more confirmation before thinking about hopping in along at this pocket region. We got the Williams also potentially crossing down on the 12, ultimately bearish. If we go to the 6-hour getting some suppression here by the Williams and the higher time frame. When you see this open up like this with the alarm cross and starting to open up, this could be the suppression you look for, and this is what we were looking at when we were looking at the short idea. We saw the alarm cross, and we saw this attempting to take off in an ambiguous way, and the cross down event with baselines, with having this fat boy baseline get rejected. And sure enough, it rejected off the fat boy and came down with the vigor. All right, so are we getting a bit of an acceleration here to the downside? Let's go deeper into the time frames. The 4-hour. 4-hour cloud broke through with conviction, so that gave us some idea to keep this runner percolating, which it is doing nicely, and looking at this possibly coming lower. Suppression of the Williams as well on the 4-hour. So you can see how that suppression prevents the takeoff of the stochastic RSI. This is why we are stochastic traders, but we use all the stochastic. Stochastic means probability from volatility, and these are all of the stochastic indicators in one. You have the stochastic RSI, you have the MACD, leading MACD, and the Williams. Smoothed and back-tested with crossover events that are back-testably true for your liking. Every alarm cross eventually does give you some downside. And the same with the rising sun events. If you get a rising sun, as we did down here, sure enough, you see that upside. Okay, so Looking at this here on the 4 hour, are we going to hold the super trend here, 0.3% away at the 6.6 at 42.643, or not? Money flow coming to the RSI below 50 levels, getting in the oversold region. We had one red vector on the 4 hour, but we still have some wicks to recover potentially on this 4 hourly candle. Let's go ahead and take a look. Looks like we're coming back into some of these 100x longs that FOMO'd in. There's more longs to take. Overall, there's that 100x pool at 43,294 for $373 million of short liquidity. Do we eventually come back to that after double bottoming? We are starting to get oversold on a bunch of oscillators on the hourly. Coming to the 15 minute, getting into the nitty gritty here. 15 minute also coming back potentially to this wick. Let's go ahead and mark it off where we went down to 42,500 exactly. This is also at the 236 level. This white line is the 236 for the trend base fib level. So if we start to recover this wick and hold it, the bullish narrative is still intact if we don't negate this 42.5 region. We have a daily support structure at 42.355 as well, and we are mighty thick on this 15-minute cloud, and it will take some time to recover. But overall, that liquidity pool up at 43,294 looking juicy to come back to at some point. Coming back to the 5-minute cloud is somewhat thick here. We got the first rejection off the thick cloud, and that was quite an acceleration event of a drop there. So coming back down, there is a thick pool down at this 100x band coming to that 42,696 region, possibly coming to that here. 696 would put ya in that wick zone. So coming back into those 100xers and liquidating those break. Not yet. Huh? Thank you. Sorry about that. All right. So yeah, looking at the 5-minute. Let's go ahead and look at the broader markets. Why did we enter the short? So we were looking at a bunch of time frames oversold on USDT dominance. We said it could possibly come lower, but ultimately we were getting rocket ships in 6 time frames oversold. We did push a little bit lower into the double bottom idea. We were looking at potentially coming to the 706, but ultimately we were overextended on USDT dominance. So coming back into that double bottom idea, even here we could reject and come back for that 706 play before coming here again. So we are not sold on this being the short. We did take a short, but it might not be the swing reversal short just yet, because we have that mighty bid amount up at that 45.5. Now, do they sweep everything before they eventually reverse? Not necessarily. We can go back in time and show you. Even here in August, when we swept to the upside, they left all of this on the table at sub 24K, and they left it there, their protected positions, and came back into those shorts up here, even though they had this thick band to come back down to. So even though they have this 53 billion to come to at 43.5, do they need to? Not necessarily, which is why we have a runner there, because I have no idea whether it's going to come down to here for one last hit to the high on Bitcoin or not. It could just very well rip and start retracing all the way back up again. The dominance. We're looking at the dominance possibly playing off of this 706 level. and we had seen the total 3 hit up into a resistance level after having a nice run to the upside, and total as well coming into a resistance level across some fibs. So this is a 618 of the retrace down to the downside. So are we getting a bit of a retrace here? I still think it is possible that we come up for one last hurrah. That idea still is on the table. I'm not going to be duped out of that idea. A lot of people could reinsert their profits from their alts into Bitcoin one last time. If we go to the altcoins, let's go to cryptobubbles.net. Axie still holding, Rose, Quant, Mina, Theta, EGLD, TIA, BTT Flow, Rune, Cordial. What is Cordial? I have no idea. These are all still holding their gains for the day. On the hour though, everything is bleeding out with Bitcoin. On the week, everything is up for the most part. And I like this for quick visualization. All right, so starting to come back here. 23 million short, opened up at 43, at 42.8, 42.78, and they could be coming back to this 23 million. Engineering to come down to those 100xers to recover the wick for a double bottom event. Eventually possibly coming up into these for the London / New York session and beyond, coming up into that 45k. So we'll be here watching the price and having the alerts coming to our phone, but this is what you would expect to come back down, potentially recover this wick, and then make your way out of here like so. So it would have to make a double bottom event for me to be pleased with it, something like that. And yeah, so got 4 time frames oversold. We are wicking off of the golden pocket area and the 236 level at 42.5. If 42.5 can hold, then we can see a potential of a reversal as the cloud would shift. Now it would do something like this, and then you would see the higher probability setup in something like that. Okay, let's go ahead into the stream and see what's up. What's up, MMA Mark? Yeah, Clue in the house. What's up? So yeah, if you have anything you want me to look at, I think that's about it. If we go to Dixie, Dixie was also having some rocket ships, I believe, down in here. Yeah, so we were seeing the dollar possibly coming back for a reversal zone. We always leave ourselves open to come lower. We don't trust the signal 100%, but it is pretty darn accurate in terms of predicting market reversals. So this rocket ship possibly leading us to some gaps up in here. If we come down to the 786, I would not be surprised. That would be in line with Bitcoin going higher and then giving us a little bit more of a upside play for that 45k before coming up. There's also a gap over here to recover before we start making our way up in there. Ultimately, if we look at the Dixie, we've been on a bearish path to the downside for some time since 2022. We came back up again, but ultimately bearish. We have not made it back up into these 109, but it's about time because the yen has been suppressed. It's terrible exchange rates over here in Japan, and the Japanese people do not complain about it. They just accept the hand that they are dealt by the American government / Federal Reserve, and they don't question it. So it's unfortunate, but that is what it is. So you have to get into trading to stay above the curve of value as they try to devalue your assets. All right, so going back into some lower time frames here. Okay, let's go see what you guys want to look at. VPP. Let's go ahead and look at VPP. VPP, yeah, you know me. Virtual poker. All right, let's go ahead. Whoa, looking mighty scant on the order book. When you see candles on a 15-minute with no orders like that, that's a little bit low liquidity for my taste. You got volume of 5.4K only. So if you were to open a trade, would this even fill your order? There's sometimes where the order book is so scant, you could set your take profit and there's not enough people selling up there and you can't get out. So be aware when you enter low liquidity things, always look at the amount of volume in the asset and adjust your margin accordingly and play ultra frugally with these type of ideas. So I like to see more action and everything, but you are getting a rocket ship here on Virtue Poker. So coming back here, the structure does warrant some sort of idea to look at here. So we came into some of the liquidity over here on this vector, and then we bounced off it, and then we came back down again. There's a BPR fair value gap on the 6 hour. What do I mean by BPR? It's a balanced price range. But does this stuff play out on things you can't even short? I don't know. If we make this a little bit more thorough, I mean, overall, you're just kind of, every time we bounce up, it gets sold off. So there's people with huge selling pressure. The cloud here on the hourly not even starting to curve just yet. This is what we look at when we look at reversals. We look at this cloud angle here, and when this angle is pointing down to 5 o'clock and it's not curving, you're not seeing this sell-off abate, and you could basically just short every time you reach the cloud because it will just sell off at the cloud, and or the super trend, at the bearish super trend at 26% away. Now generally when you start to see it abate, you start to see a curve like that, and it starts to thin, and this is what this trend cloud idea would look like. It's any asset in the world. This is Bitcoin at its ultimate bottom, so you were getting sold off as the cloud was thick. It started to thin and shift, but we didn't make it above it. We make it above the cloud, and there would have been your prior probability setup. Boom, boom, and then that was where rocket ships were occurring, and this is what it looked like on together with the rocket ships, and you're getting those 6 time frames oversold. So the same thing would have to occur. You're getting a rocket ship, but this is not exactly where I would like to see it. I would like to see some confirmation and reclaiming of this cloud. This is why we have the schematic on the website. It's essentially an entry model using Momentum Master properly. So you'd get the rocket ship, which is fine and dandy, but you'd have to kind of build up, reject, create a double bottom, and then that would be kind of your better probability setup, where the cloud would kind of hold down here. All right, that is kind of what I would wait for this, even though I necessarily don't endorse something with this low liquidity, but it is what it is. So you have this possible support structure to look into. You could liquidity grab down to here, and this is like your shoulder, head and shoulder, who knows? Which is why you'd need to see some conviction and break the super trend level. This super trend would come down, and then you'd break it around here, and then you start to get in at the idea over here for the higher probability play. I don't even know if they allow shorting for this. It's probably spot only, so it's probably a lot of people looking to get out and the order book not filling them. I don't know. So, but yeah, you are getting a rocket ship, so you could see that if there is a move to the upside, and that is VPP, Virtual Poker. Anyone else with anything? And that's why this cloud is mighty thick, and it is starting to curve ever so slightly. So you gotta see what that cloud reaction would bring with it. It's risky business, yeah. I mean, as long as you know that going in and you play accordingly with the amount of margin that you know you can get out, like $100 or something like that. But I wouldn't put like 5 grand into it or anything. We're getting a cross up of the 15 here. So this cross up event, if locked in, I mean, this is why the baselines are looked at as a scalper's dream, because these baselines will precede the move. They're the first sign of reversal, your leading moving average formula. And when you get price action closing candles above the baselines, that's when you can look at longing. Same with conversely with shorts. We're in the short back here, and yeah, it started to cross the baselines down. We had some conviction. We could have trimmed in this. We just held it and set our stop into profit and just let it play out overnight. But technically I should have trimmed a little bit here and possibly looked at re-entry, but I was spending time with the family. Either way, we got paid. But yeah, this type of cross down of the baselines, same thing for shorts. When it crosses down, it gives you confirmation, and boom, until it crosses up again, it's valid. So until it crosses down again, this could be a valid entry model, but I would like to see it come into some of these wicks a little bit more and take out some of these 100xers first. So possibly coming to that 43.016 pool guy, that short that opened up down here into resistance, or sorry, into support, and then they could possibly get enough liquidity to dump onto these guys, this band of 100xers. We're waiting for the double bottom confirmation at 42.5 for BTC, and this is a possible run that could take us up to that 45k. No guarantees, no way to know, but waiting for some confirmation. Don't think we'll get it on the stream today, but that's what you would be looking for, and looking for a shift in the cloud structure. Now if we go to a lower time frame, you'd most likely already start to see that, you see. So it would give you, everything's fractal in nature, so the cross down event would have been sooner. And this is why it's a scalper's dream, because you could go down into the 3-minute and see that cross down event here, and essentially be watching this cloud thin in real time on the 3-minute. You see this? So you had this sell-off, super purple. We come back, you don't want to buy the V shape, you look for the double bottom. We're coming back to the double bottom. We're possibly breaking the super trend on the bearish trend-based fib level, which has been holding since back here of yesterday London time, London close. So do we break this and start to make our path up, or are we going to reject off this cloud and come back for a double bottom event? Okay. We're looking for the double bottom play here. Personally, looking to see that double bottom sauce. All right, so does that double bottom hold that trend-based fib level at 42.5 or not? We will wait and see off the stream. But if so, the higher liquidity pool on the monthly is to the upside, so we're looking for a little bit of a run to the upside here on the monthly time frame. If this will load properly, it's not loading, but whatever. We saw it before. Wait, hold on. All right, we're back. So let's see. So coming to the monthly time frame. So you got the monthly up here in this 45.5 region for us to possibly come back into, which is why after that small liquidity grab, we could be seeing this possibility of coming up. I'd like to see it come a little bit lower, but beggars can't be choosers. Maybe that is your ultimate bottom for now. Maybe those 100xers got lucky and they will come for this 43.294 short pool. Either way, we paid ourselves, so we are good for either way. So we don't FOMO. We'll wait for our confirmation signal. Maybe if it comes back down here, we'll close the short and possibly flip to a long. Risky Sauce. Nice. What's up, Sauce? Yes, this is pretty cool. It was spent 2 years engineering this, so it's not a one of those cash grab indicators like BitBoys or any of those other ones that are repaints. It does this in the moment, and you'll get these alerts in the moment. So you'll learn to see the higher time frames without actually flipping to the higher time frames. That's the idea, is it saves you the effort of keeping plugged into multiple monitors and all that. You can know what's going on what time frame with the screener and all that stuff. You can flip between coins and give analysis really quick. That's the idea. So you got that 15-minute cross-up event of the baseline. Are we starting to see this potential reverse come back into that vector and recover some of that short liquidity up there? The 100xers looking like it might do that. And that is False Move Monday for you. So we'll possibly flip our tune off stream for a possible long, but we'll see. The aggression in which it purged gives me pause, so I'm not FOMOing just yet. Already in profit either way, so no sign of abating yet on the hourly. So this hourly cross down was a nice fade there. If you have any last ideas, this is it. So we could be seeing this cross-up event here on the 15 play out and come up here. We'll watch for that reaction off stream for you. It is the Asian range though. The Asia session rarely brings the pumpage, so we'll see. Does Asia bring it up to knock it down again for that double bottom recovery of the wick? I'll wait for the reaction here if there ever is one. I'm more patient. I don't want to FOMO, but we'll see. If it does burst up, we can get a confirmation play perhaps here. Anyone else with anything? No? Heroes? All right, well, I'm going to spend some time with my kids for the Christmas. They're waiting outside, so I want to make sure they are happy and content on Christmas Day. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. If we go to just basically where we are on the nutshell, in a nutshell play, coming back to the 6 hour. We came back to the 6 hour cloud. We were looking at this cross down event yesterday, which is why we shorted into this premium level at just above equilibrium of this impulse at the 706 trapdoor we always talk about, and we took that short down to the cloud. Do we get a bounce off this golden pocket / 236 of the bullish trend base of this impulse retrace here to go up to 45k? That's what I'm looking for next. And then if we come up to this 45k region, we can short that sucker into the retrace back down. But we always look for confirmation. We don't expect V-shaped recoveries on either end. We wait for 1, 2, 3 hits to the high at least, and then we short it. We don't try to expect to catch some V-shaped short. That's unrealistic. It's going to fatigue multiple times most likely and then come back down. So it is what it is, and that is my story, and I'm sticking to it. Right now we're looking for potential upside play after the liquidity grab was taken, and this was the idea of the model we're looking at. Kind of looking for a double bottom play. It looks like it's already giving the cross up event on the baselines here, and we will see. And that's my story. I'm sticking to it, for folks. Dias Natalis Solis Invicti. Merry Christmas, everyone. Thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day. We'll do the same, bringing the fire, the accuracy, the precision, all that fun stuff, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.